have the seasons, like you have the winter and the spring, so it's different than your energy in your body, because we live in our house with air conditioning and heating, we don't realize much. But when you go out, you realize that like in the summer you can bike all day long, since 7 o'clock in the morning until 10 p.m. But in the winter, it's already dark, so nature is telling you, get in a place warm and stay quiet. Don't expend too much energy, because the universe doesn't have much energy. So they learned that the same thing happened in your body. So do you see the mountains there and the river and all that? But if you come here, you see the human body. Our human body is like mountains and rivers. So the rivers are the veins that we have here. You can see the veins. These are rivers. This? Yeah, like those. Those are your rivers. And then the rivers get water and nutrients to different parts of your body. So your muscles are able to make, your heart is pumping, and the heart, the most important thing of the heart is that from the heart comes the arteries, where the blood goes for the body. From there is a part of the pipes that go back to the heart, because the heart is a muscle, so it needs nutrition, right? So those arteries go on top of the heart, so the heart is shaped like this, and these go on top of that. Do you know how those arteries called? They are called coronary. You know what coronary is? It's a crown. So it's like a...
I didn't know that.
So it's like the crown that brings food to the heart, which is a muscle. And then every muscle, every time you move like this, it moves because your blood gets oxygen and nutrients. The most important nutrient for movement is glucose, which is sugar. So it's the most pure energy. But when you eat, you cannot only eat sugar, because you need other nutrients. Because the muscle moves with the glucose, but it needs all this calcium and magnesium and other, which activate the energy. It's kind of like the electricity. So you not only need nutrients, but you need electricity. So in acupuncture, we also use electricity, and we introduce that electricity into the body. So you have this machine. Can you hear? Mm-hmm. So that's one frequency. You have another frequency. Different parts of your body work at different frequencies. So when people are in pain, you can put these needles and you put electricity and you bring harmony to that part. So let's go back to nature here. And so for example, you have the mountains and you have a house. For this house, you need to bring water. So you have to maybe go up the river this way, and then you can bring a pipe. Why do you have to go up? Because the water here is high. So if you bring it from here, then it's going to be at the level of your house, right? So those is the way you are bringing nature to yourself. So your house is very convenient. You just come here. You don't have to worry about rivers. You need to wash your hands. You come here. You open this and you get water. This is very important in our profession. So we need to, every time we're going to see a patient, we clean our hands. And every time we finish up with a patient, we clean our hands. So sometimes I wash my hands 20 times. And it's very important because, first of all, I don't want to get sick with other people's sickness. And then I don't want to give sickness from one patient to another patient. Otherwise, imagine comes one sick person, and then everybody that comes to see me gets sick too. We don't want that, right? So hygiene is very important in our profession. It's always very important, but for us it's more important because we get in touch with too many people. Sometimes in one day I can see 10 different people. So that's a lot of people, and those people go to the house and see other people. So hygiene is very important. So let's go back to the human body. And so in Chinese acupuncture, you see these lines. So you see the bones and you see the muscles, but you see some lines. Those lines is where the energy runs, and these are called meridians. So the same way you have bones and you have arteries and you have veins. Do you know the difference between veins and arteries? No?
Veins are like the blood that doesn't have any oxygen, and arteries is the blood that has oxygen.
Very good. So the veins go back to the heart. The heart sends the blood to the lungs, and the lungs give them oxygen. And that's Western anatomy. In Chinese medicine, in addition to bring oxygen, you bring qi, or the Indians they also call prana. So when you do yoga, they have some kind of exercise they call pranayama, and an exercise with the breathing. You can do some exercise, kind of energize you. Or like sometimes you are sleepy and you can breathe deep, and then you feel invigorated because you can bring oxygen to your heart and you have more energy to be able to move. Okay, so these meridians are very important in our medicine because each point, you can see all these pictures, there are 365 acupuncture points, so you can have one acupuncture for every day of the year, right? That's interesting, right? So
exactly
these meridians,
365. It's a coincidence, no?
the meridians are connected to the organs. So, for example, over here we have this is the heart meridian. It starts right here, and then runs all the way to this little finger, right here. So that's the heart meridian. But this is the part. Then it goes deep into it and goes to the heart because it's the heart meridian, so it's connected to the heart.
So it was like that for all the fingers?
Every meridian, they have different places and they are connected to the organs. So there is one for the stomach, for example. So the stomach runs around here and then gets connected to the stomach and then goes back to your face. So it's from your head to your toes, but inside it gets connected to the stomach. So with this meridian, I can put a needle here and influence my digestion. Or I can put here a needle and influence my heart. That's pretty much the way it works, acupuncture. How did they find out that? They test for hundreds of years and they start making these maps. And they visit different doctors. So there was one Chinese doctor whose name was Wen Yu, which decided, well, we have so many doctors, but not everybody knows how to heal perfectly. Why don't we bring the best doctors in the region and we write a book? So he wrote a book that is called the Song Wen, and it's called a classic book. This is one of the first books in medicine. So he wrote that book, and then in that book they explain how things work, because some of the doctors, they were just taught by their parents and they knew what to do. So they say, okay, if you have a person that is coughing, put a needle here and put a needle here. So they will learn some of the practice without exactly knowing. And then every person would change the recipe according to their learnings or to their knowledge. But this was kind of like the first time that it was standardized. About 50 years ago in China, you know that China is the country with the most population, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they realized that the current Western medicine was introduced more than 100 years ago, but they realized that they relied on medicine, that it was very expensive. But needles are not very expensive, and you can heal the person, and the visit can be. And one doctor, sometimes we get many people, and we can treat in one room 10 different people. It's called community acupuncture. There is one in Foggy Bottom, and people go there, and people that don't have that much money, they can go there and they can give whatever they have. So some people come and say, I have $20, and they get treated. And you don't get treated according with what you paid, it's what you can afford. So you say, okay, be generous to the person that is going to heal you. But if you don't have that money, maybe a person gives $1, but if the person has $2 and he gives $1, how much is he giving you? Half of what he has, right? So imagine somebody who has $1,000 will give $500, that would be a lot. No? But at least that way it's more fair to everybody because you can pay. Otherwise, if you go to a doctor say, I charge $100. You want to see me? $100. If you don't have, come back whenever you have the money. And so it turned into a business instead of being a profession. A profession is doing something you love. So try to find something in your life that you want to work, that you're passionate about, and you like it. Don't do it just for the money. And if you have something that you like to do and it doesn't produce money, like for example, if you like to write books, maybe you can find something else to do, and then in your spare time you can write books or read books or whatever you want. So you have your profession and then you have your passion. Sometimes it can be the same. So for me, I work in a bank, in a financial institution.
Can you
for
imagine?
25 years.
Can you imagine? You worked in
So
the
for
bank.
25 years, I worked at a suit, and I went to my office, and I traveled through Latin America, all the countries. I know all the countries of America and the Caribbean. And I was working with business, so I got all my papers, all that. Now this is my passion, and I can do it very happy. So it's very important to find that passion in your life, because then you can be happy. It's like I woke up and I say, oh, I have to work. If I don't like what I do, right? It's like when you go to school and you have a teacher that you don't like, you don't feel very happy to go to class. But if the class that is exciting and you're learning and making experiments, I like that one very much.
Yeah.
So, in acupuncture we use needles, and we have different kinds of needles. Let me show you. This is a kind of needle. You see how cute it is? It has purple. And then, so to put the needles, you can put the needle just like this. So we are finding the place. So I learned this a long time ago, but I wanna do this point. You see, but this one. You see, there is a hand. Right here, there is a hand. Okay? So this is this side of the hand, and this is this side. So in this way, I want to treat, let's say that I want to treat this point, right? This is the pericardium, and it's the point number 6. So I can find it right here. It goes between the two tendons. And that's a needle. In Chinese, all the needles, all the points have a name. And the name of this point is called Inner Frontier Gate. And it's a spiritual point, because the Inner Frontier Gate, your soul lives in your heart. So this is the door that you can get to your heart and visit your soul. So some people believe that when I put the needle here, you get in touch with your heart. And you know, your heart can speak you and tell you, you know, I have a mission. When you are born in this life, you have a mission, and this point can speak you what your reason to live is. So that's a way to insert a needle, but also they come with a small pipe, and you can use the pipe to insert the needle. You want it? Okay. I'm gonna put it, and then you want a needle? You want to try it? Okay. So, you want the same point? Very good. I have to ask for your permission because this is a very important point. Okay. I have your permission to do it. You have your
Of
permission?
course.
Okay. You feel that? That's called chi. Isn't it amazing?
So I was like, yeah, I was like,
It's called chi. It's the force that, all that force is all the time going through your body.
now it's like, it's,
You just felt this part, but it travels through all your body. It takes half an hour to go all around your body. So, moves. But when I put the needle, it moves really fast. When it's just natural, it goes very slow. That's what needles are important. They are awakening your chi. So
why does it go so fast? Is it like,
because I'm activating it. So it's like when the river goes very slow, right? But if you get all that force of that river and you put it into a pipe, it can be really fast. So this water, for example, it comes from the Potomac River, and in the river, have you seen how it moves? Very slow. But when you open the faucet, it goes really fast. So it's kind of a way to stimulate. Then when you put electricity, you move even faster. So some of the reasons that you get pain in one place is because energy gets stuck. So it feels like pain or it feels cold. Why it feels cold? Because there's not enough blood. Blood brings nutrients and it brings heat because we're warm. We're the mammals, and mammals are warm blood. We have a weight that the blood is always kept warm, and that's the way we work. So when that one part of the